We're going to get started. We're going to start with one of your favorite media members, Mr. Brad Turner.
Oh, Lord. Where's he at?
Brad, you there? There he is.
Brad, put the wine down. You can ask the question.
You're on mute, BT.
Hey, old people.
Now, how about that? There we go, Doc. There's that smiling face. You know, when you have these practice sessions and you guys are communicating about what you want to do, how you want to practice, how can you balance that with talking about social injustice and unrest when you're trying to get through a session of practice as well?
Well, you pretty much put them in compartments, Brad. Like before practice, we talk about it. After practice, we'll talk about it. We'll also make sure that our guys stay aware of what's going on and whatever they're trying to get out there, whatever message they're trying to get out there. I think that's important as well. So it will not stop, and I can guarantee you, at least not from us. But once we're on the floor, you know, then we do our jobs, and you know that's gonna take some time as well. You know, this is not a normal way of starting back. Usually going into training camp, guys have been scrimmaging for 3 and 4 weeks. They've been playing, you know, shooting on hoops. That's not happening. This is a group that some of the guys have not touched the basketball or seen a gym until 2 weeks ago. So we got a lot of work to do on both ends.
Thank you.
Thanks, BT. Next question, Doc, we have from Ohm. Hold on here. Ohm, you there?
Hey, Doc. Good seeing you again.
What's going on?
Wondering, I know you haven't, this is technically your first practice, but was wondering what you think of what you've seen from PG so far. And also, what's the status of Kawhi? When do you expect to have him in Orlando?
Well, I haven't seen any of them yet as far as playing basketball. PG, we've seen shooting, and he looks great. You know, when you factor in at the beginning of training camp, PG couldn't play. He wasn't healthy. Now in this second quote-unquote training camp, he'll be 100% healthy. I think that's huge for us. Kawhi is on his way, should arrive sometime this evening.
Thank you, Ohm. Next question is from Cameron. Cameron, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, thanks for making time for us.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, Coach, I'd like to know, how are you guys approaching these upcoming games in Orlando? Is it closer to training camp, or is it more like a road trip to you guys? And secondly, I'd like to, in regard to leadership, would you mind sharing your thought process into leading this team into this awkward situation? And what kind of influence has Jerry West had on this process, if any?
Well, as far as the team and going into this situation, it's awkward for everybody, you know. But we've decided to come here. We all had to make an individual decision to come down to Orlando. And once we got here, we decided that this is our mission. You know, this is, you know, we're just here. We're going to try to drown out all stuff that distracts us from our goal. And then socially, we have a chance to take a stand and send out a message to everyone. So leadership-wise, I think not just me, but the entire organization, including Jerry, are all involved in that part of it. As far as the basketball part, it's really the same thing. You know, once you get on the floor, we just got to get back into our rhythm. And I think that would be the first thing, conditioning and rhythm.
Doc, next question is from Andrew Greif.
Andrew?
Mr. Rivers, in terms of the travel party, can you walk me through kind of the difficult decisions the team had to make of, you know, for especially your coaching staff, like how do you decide who to bring? And for the players, did you decide to bring all 17 players you could have?
Pardon me? I didn't hear the last part.
I know you guys could bring up to 17 players, including the two-way. Will you, in fact, bring all 17?
No, we brought 15 players. We will be bringing 15 players when Kawhi, and then the other guys get here. So they're close. And then staff was a tough one. It really was. You know, because it's training camp, the way I look at it first, and we're assuming that as each round goes on, we'll be able to add more staff. We really leaned hard on the medical side, or even over the coaching side, you know, which made it a very difficult decision for me, obviously.
Thank you, Andrew. Next, Doc, we have Mike Fratello.
Mike, who?
You might have heard of him.
He's been trying to get a hold of me. I've been ignoring him for 3 days.
Mike, you there?
If Mike can figure this out, I'm going to be very impressed.
Hold on, Doc. How about that?
Oh, wow, Mike. I'm
Okay.
pretty much impressed right now with you, Mike Fratello.
Thank you, Doc. Without knowing exactly what you were able to do, have you had a team, whether last night, today, at some point, a team meeting, it could have been a Zoom meeting or anything, to kind of deliver your opening message going into the first practice? And if so, can you share with us what the message was?
Well, that's a good question. So we've done it a couple times, Mike. We did it one by Zoom. Then we did it when we arrived here to the hotel before we got off the bus. You know, I walked on the back and I talked to each guy and the team as a group about why we were here. You know, and the message is we're on a mission and we've been deployed. Nothing's going to distract us. We're not going to complain about anything. Right now, personally, I think it's been an impressive, when you watch what the NBA has done to try to pull this off, it's really impressive. And so we love it. We're here and that's it. Like, Mike, that's our message, this is a business trip for us.
Thanks, Mike. Doc, we have time for 2 more questions. Tomer, go ahead.
Can you guys hear me? Cool.
Yes.
Thanks for doing this, Doc. Hope everything's well. The NBA released their list of names that they allowed players to have on the back of their jerseys, and I think some players were sort of disappointed that they were limited to so little names. I know Austin wanted Trayvon on the back of his jersey. How do you feel about the list of names and what was available to players? Do you think there's a chance they could expand it to even more?
I'm sure they can expand it. I honestly have not looked at all the names that they've come up with, but there's so many things that you can put on the back of a jersey. And at some point, you obviously have to put a limit on it, you know? And so obviously they may expand it. I think what Austin is saying is putting some of the guys' name, Eric Garner, and different names wouldn't be a bad idea. But at some point, you have to limit it to something, right? And so I think that's what the NBA and the Players Association, they pretty much decided it together. I love that they're doing it. And if they expand it, I'm all for that as well.
Great. Doc, last question comes from Dan Wilkie.
This is a long question, I have a feeling.
It's an easy one. This is going to be basketball played in a way that it's never really been played at this high of a level. Are there any things that you're hoping to maybe learn about the game that you didn't know before? Are there things that you can take out of this, whether it's the effect of travel or anything like that, or is this just going to be its own little one-off thing?
I don't think it'll be a one-off thing, Dan. I don't know what we're going to learn, but I think we're all going to learn something. We're going to learn a lot about ourselves individually. We're going to learn a lot of what we're willing to put up with to win. And we're going to learn basketball too. I mean, this is a different setting. I've never had where I had 65 games to watch and evaluate how your team is playing, what your team does well, and then take a break and now come back and restart it. And so, it will be interesting. I think some teams may come out playing differently than they did for the first 65. Most teams will just come out and pick up where they left off, at least try to. But there absolutely will be lessons learned, both individually and both as a team.
Well, thank you so much, Doc. Good luck at the first practice, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye.